We've been here before, year after year, and we've been showing up and doing it bigger and better. We are on a mission, and you form part of it.
We've been aiming to make a difference in people's lives. The VYG way, of course.
Showcasing talent, success, and sharing words of motivation.
Reminding the youth, reminding you
that whatever you put your mind to, you can succeed at. We don't chill.
We never stop.
That's the mission.
To transform lives.
You should be part of it. 22nd of February 2025 at the grounds.
24456 Eming Drive, Zone 6, Deep Cliff, Soweto. Or, for those outside Gauteng, you can head to your provincial branch.
When we say we are women, we mean that we are brave, we are strong, we are capable, we are unique, we are woman to woman.
Good afternoon, Africa. Good afternoon, South Africa. Good afternoon, Toku.
Good afternoon, Masha, and good afternoon to our viewers.
And today we give good afternoon to this beautiful YPG team who is joining us today. And you know why? Because this is that season of the year that we are in partnership with the YPG for this great event that we are going to host on tomorrow, actually. And that is the reason why we took a little bit of a change for our program today to speak about the event of tomorrow, but to relate with real love stories. Isn't that, Toku?
Yeah, actually, I wanted to comment on the event. It's going to be a beautiful and wonderful event. So everybody is waiting for that. And you see that we had a wonderful group here sharing their experiences as well.
And I wanted to invite you who say, I'm not no longer into this thing of YPG. We're not talking about youth necessarily. They're going to come with such stories, amazing stories of overcoming situations that I am sure it will speak to your heart, it will set an example. So don't go anywhere just because you say, I'm no longer in this age band.
And you know, YPG, Mrs. M, okay, in our times it wasn't called that, it was called youth group. I didn't want to join because in my mind I thought, oh, YPG is all about noise. But YPG caters for everybody. If you are not a person who likes music, maybe you love doing something else, they cater for you.
And above all, the support to face the struggles in life. Yeah. But I think we need to start with a disclaimer. A little change, a twist for 2025. You've known us as YPG this far.
Yes.
But we are launching a surprise for you. The name has changed. And what is it now?
VYG.
So let us learn more about what VYG means.
Today, we stand at a significant milestone in our journey. We were known as the Youth Power Group and now transitioning to the Victory Youth Group. We're not just evolving our identity, we are redefining the very essence of who we are and what we aim to achieve moving forward. The reason for the change from YPG to VYG. It has come to our attention that our previous name, YPG, is shared with a group that has been associated with violent activities. As we look to grow and expand, we felt it was necessary to make this change to ensure our name is aligned with the values we represent and to avoid any confusion or negative impact towards our mission and brand integrity. While our name has changed, our mission remains the same: to inspire, support, and empower young people to reach their goals and overcome their challenges. We are still reaching out throughout the country in schools, communities, in sports, and other activities we do. We are excited about this journey ahead and deeply grateful for the continued trust and collaboration from everyone who's been part of this incredible team. VYG, They ain't no stopping us.
So now that you understood the context behind Victory Youth Group, and even though if you are not in the youth group, as we are, we are young adults,
we are young adults.
part of it, you're going to discern more about the purpose of tomorrow's event. That's why we say, good afternoon to you, PJ and Tali. And they coming with a very interesting game for you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Miss Marcia. Thank you, Miss T. What's good, VYG fam? It's good to be back and storming into the Woman to Woman program. As you know, it is that time of the year where we do the official, what was YPG, now VYG take over. You know, that's what's up. As you know, the fam never rides solo. We never ride solo. We always have our fam here with us. And today we're going to kick off with a different kind of juge. We are going to play a little game of Never have ever. And Tali's got a couple of questions. But before we hit up to the questions, I'd love for you guys to see our guests who are here today. We are joined by Junior. We have Junior. We have also sitting next to him, Kilebuhile. We've got Mbali. We've got Don. We've got Lati, her nickname. And we've got Tabang on the far
They
left.
still look a bit nervous, but you know, with time, they're going to loosen up, and by the end, it will be a mess.
Exactly. You know, there's always that, you know, we start with the formalities, you know exactly how it is. So Tali, you ready with the first question?
Let's go. First question. Never have I ever had my family apart.
Okay.
Okay.
So Tabang
Say 50-50.
have 50-50.
Yeah.
Okay. 3 say, Tabang, you've never had your family apart. Or you have had them apart, my apologies.
Yes.
Please tell us a little bit about that.
So I got to a situation where I had to decide on my career after matric. And it was a divided kind of support. The majority didn't support what I was about to do or the career that I was about to get into. The majority didn't support. But there was a few individuals, you know, that wanted to hear my story. So there was some form of separation, fights. Don't listen to that one. No, don't listen to what he said. No, don't listen.
So your career path was the reason for the division in the family?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
My career path was the reason for the division in the family.
Okay.
Because not everyone agreed and only a few people agreed.
It's interesting. That's
And then they would like put one against the other
Yes.
to you. Like, no, she doesn't know what she's talking about.
Yeah, don't listen
to
to
that
him.
one. We know we want the best for you. And how did you feel when you had that? You were in the middle of.
So I felt I was kind of, at some point I was kind of disappointed in myself that, oh, look now, you are dividing the family. Look now, you are the reason for this. Look now, they all fighting because of you. If you had just, you know, decided on something that they were all gonna agree on, maybe this wouldn't have happened. But, you know, I just found myself in that situation and I just didn't know what to do. I was just confused. I was just disappointed in myself that, oh, the family is fighting now because of your choice. Because
So you had a sense of guilt.
decided. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see how
was
he dealt with
hectic.
that after.
Yes,
Yeah.
we're going to see how he dealt with that. You're going to have to hang a little bit. As you know, the VYG, we love a little bit of suspense.
Especially when PJ is involved.
A little bit of suspense. I don't know why it's me. You know, it's the VYG. It's what the crowd wants, you know. So we give them what they want, suspense. So you're going to have to wait a little bit for us to figure out, did he really overcome that? Did he deal with that?
We'll find out.
Let's go to the next person. Who else had their families divided? Let's see.
Kilibohili, right?
Was it?
No?
Okay, we have Don and Mbali. Don, tell us a little bit about it.
For me, it was when I was moving from my parents' side, going to either stay with my mother's family or my daddy's family, because we didn't have like enough room for all of us as a family. So it was that thing of, Dawn, who are you going to stay with? Are you gonna go stay with your grandma, which is my mother's mother, or my grandma as well, which is my father's mother? And then when I'm with my mom is like, my son, you know, your grandma is gonna make life much simpler for you, and I'll be able to talk to you on the phone. Your grandma, that other one, does not even have a phone to talk to me. So, it's kind of like, so I was stuck in that kind of, with my father, it's like, yeah, I'm going to take you to your grandma. She's going to take good care of you. I'm going to send you toys, promises from both the sides. And, and my family, by the way, is like my father's side and my mother's side don't talk to each other. So it was that kind of, so who do I choose now? My mom is giving me the advantages of joining her side. My father is also giving me the advantages. So it was that kind of
How old were you?
I was going to do my, is it grade 7? I think I was going to do my grade 7, yeah.
So around 12, 13 more or less.
Yeah.
So you're pretty young to decide that.
Decide that was all about
they
the
let
promises.
the decision in your hands.
Yes.
Oh, that's tough for that age.
Mbali?
So with me, my family I didn't have the perfect family, of course, growing up. And worse enough is that on my father's side, he didn't think I was his daughter because I didn't look like him. So he was like, Mbali, you don't look like me, so, growing up. And because of that, there was a big divide in my family, and that caused a bit of a clash. And already there was a big clash because of belief systems. My mom started, investing in herself, whereas my father was on the other hand. So growing up, my family was apart, and even with extended family, they didn't understand our current belief systems as well.
Okay. How old were you as well when that happened?
This was when I was in primary, growing up, yeah.
How did that affect you? Because, that caused division in the family, but how did that affect you?
It affected me in the sense that, what do you mean I don't look like you, so I'm not your daughter? So it made me feel very rejected, and as if I wasn't wanted, as if I was the problem, because now that I was born, and because now I'm born, I'm the problem. I'm the reason why my family got divided. I'm the reason why, that there's no cohesion. Because before, when I was born, everybody was together. In my mind, it would play. That would play every single time I wanted to try something, or every single time I wanted to do something great. It would push me back, and it put me in such a corner where I didn't speak a lot. And because of that, even my confidence went down, because of the feeling of rejection and the feeling of not being enough.
So assuming just like Tabang, you were also cut by that guilt, like it's my fault. Okay.
I felt guilty.
All right. I'd like our viewers to also join in the comment section. Obviously, if you feel okay with sharing it, also join in on the game I have, or as you'll see the little placards, I have not. Is it I have or have not? What is it?
Or never.
Never. Never have I ever. Okay, got it right. Never and I have. All right, Dali, next question.
Next question is, never have I ever been rejected so many times that I doubted myself. You were rejected so many times.
Rejected so many times that you doubted yourself.
Some are still doubting themselves
Still
right now.
Okay, so
okay, only
Lati is never doubted herself, at least not under this context. Let's go to the other side there. Junior, tell us a little bit about that.
With me, it was most of having doubting myself in sense of belonging. Because with me, as they were speaking about families, I grew up in a very solid family, and that had a positive impact in my growing up as an individual. But with me, I started facing problems mostly when I went to high school, because I had a speech problem. I couldn't pronounce words. So many my classmates would say things like, you don't know how to speak well. They would actually make fun of me, and it made me uncomfortable, or it demotivated me in such a way that I felt rejected simply because I couldn't articulate myself in a manner in which they could. So it had a little bit of impact in such a way, and I sort of felt rejected in a way, but it's something that I eventually overcame. But at that point, it had a little bit of a negative impact. So I've felt rejected once in life.
Okay. Kili, talk to us.
Okay, for me, it wasn't family related, but it happened where my first job. I was doing well because with other colleagues, they were pleased with my work. So this other time, one colleague, the consultant, was like, Kile, how about you take this course? Because of the way you are working so hard, you're going to grow into this level, you know. But because of it was my first job, I didn't have much understanding. Then I took it to my superior and I was like, you know, so and so said I can take this course so that, and then my superior was being negative towards me, was like, do you think that you can make it? Do you think that you can even afford it? So that created a void, and I felt rejected, like, why am I being rejected to such an opportunity that I can grow in? But yeah, it
And
really
then
hurt a lot.
Did that affect your performance at work?
It did, it didn't. The other side, I was performing very well. But on the other side, I was like, okay, I'm putting all my level best on my work, but then still, I feel like they don't see the pressure that I put on my work. But yeah.
Should we go to the next one?
I think we should. And I also would like you guys to tune in. The fam here have so much stories. There are so many stories. It's so interesting, Tali, that in spite of the age of majority of us all being young, many can share so many stories, hell, which they have been through. And before this show ends, we want to tell you, we're going to conclude this whole story. So keep on track with us and join in. Exactly. Don't leave us and join in, because what we're going to share, they are going to share. Well, not we. We're just here, you know, helping here, being part, invading the woman-to-woman fam. But what they are going to share with you, I'm sure that's going to make a huge difference. And I also want to appeal, make sure that you get everybody to, you know, join in, tune in. Every young person who's been through this or even worse, because I'm sure their experiences will be able to help.
Even those who already overcame, they say, no, I'm cool, I'm fine. But we always learn from each other. We are here, we are learning from them. I'm learning so much. So
there's always room for improvement.
Of course.
Okay.
Okay. Let's go to the next one. I'm excited about this one because it's what the audience likes to hear.
Oh gosh.
Never have I ever been heartbroken.
Oh wow. I'm glad I don't have I'm glad I don't have to lift one out here.
Don't feel shy. We won't judge you. We listen.
We listen. We don't judge. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Junior's never been heartbroken. Junior, please. I want to start with Junior.
No, Lati didn't decide yet.
she's in between.
It's like, did I? Was that bad?
Is she in denial? Is she in denial? No, I didn't really like him that much. It was not necessarily a heartbreak. Never. Okay. With the ladies, I still find it understandable.
Serious? I think the ladies, we are more emotional, so I thought we would.
But you know, when a guy is hooked, when a guy is whipped, it's over. When a guy is whipped, that's why I want to start with you, Junior. Tell us a little bit about you never gave, like, you never, what you call this? You never shared feelings. What's the story? Talk to us.
With me, PJ, I grew up in a very strict family. Like, they were very strict. So I think as I went on in life, it caught up with me. Like, I matured at a very young age. So I was never that stout kid. I was always in line. So,
okay.
So that was like basically me. Like,
wow,
yeah.
No, the family, y'all did a good job. To Junior's parents, we salute you for the amazing work.
Same WhatsApp group, Junior.
Same. Okay. Now I want to go to those that have been heartbroken. Let me see again. Can I see those that have been?
Tabang looks so stressed now. I don't want to go back there.
Yeah, him and Don. Like, it's like we're opening those wounds. They're like, oh no, we have to go back there. Tabang, talk to us.
So for me, it's always been, you know, different situations, but mostly it's been like getting into a relationship and you get heartbroken, or you like someone and you overdo it. And once you approach, you get rejected, and the heartbreak just hits hard. It hits hard because
But heard
because there was a time where I invested so much in somebody that I had no idea how that person felt about me. But I invested so much, I invested so much, I invested so much. And when I found out that, okay, this person does not feel the same way exactly, the heartbreak was heavy.
How long was that investment? How long were you there investing on
think-
that savings account there?
It was for about almost a year. I was investing, you know, buying gifts.
Almost 365 days of your life there.
Just investing, you know, and people would warn me, you know, there's elders in your family or the big brother. My big brother would warn me that please find out how she feels before, you know, you invest too much, because you will invest too much without knowing how this person feels. And once you find out, you'll find out that you've lost too much.
And you were even warned.
Yes, my brother used to warn me all the time. He used to tell me that, please find out. And you know, when you are feeling what you're feeling, you don't want to necessarily listen to people. So by the time I found out, it hit hard. The heartbreak really hits hard.
And
It was hectic.
what was your reaction? Like, did you isolate yourself, or you just went out there and tried to show her what you lost?
Okay, I did try that, but eventually, I just took it as a lesson that, okay, next time, please don't invest too much. Just find out in the beginning stages when you feel this thing for somebody. Just find out how they feel, so that you know what you're investing yourself into, what you're getting yourself into. Don't just go all out and, you know, try to impress. You know, as gents, we always want to impress. We always have that thing that, okay, if I rock up dressed like this, she's gonna like it. If I do this type of a haircut, she's gonna like it. On her birthday, if I come with flowers, she's gonna love it. You know, and you find that, okay, she doesn't necessarily like flowers, but you just say, okay, no, all ladies like this. Let me do this. So I learned a lesson that, okay, next time, be yourself and just try to find out how this person feels. And then, you won't lose a lot.
Okay. Without going a bit off topic, did she friend zone you? Because that's a painful one, man.
I didn't allow that. I immediately cut ties when I found out.
Okay, before the friend zone came in.
Before the friend zone kicked in, I was like, I'm cutting ties. Blocked her on WhatsApp. It was done.
All right. I won't go in, although you said that really this is, I'm sure the audience are going on about this one and they want to know more. But we have a couple more questions to go. Where are we? Which one
You
are
can
we?
choose.
I can choose any.
Yes, any.
Okay.
I went literally to the last one because I liked it.
Okay. I'm going to go for a deep one. Never have I ever been pressured to succeed. Okay.
Wow.
Everyone, 100%, all of them have been pressured to succeed. This one is probably going to be the gist of what we're going to speak about in today's topic, but we'll move on to the following question. This one, I think we will go there. We will go there. This is very interesting. Never have I ever had a mental breakdown. Never have I ever had a mental breakdown. Okay. Lati's still thinking. So we've got Lati and we've got Mbali. Lati hasn't spoken. Lati, tell us a little bit about your situation.
One would best describe my mental breakdown in varsity. Varsity was hard. Varsity was hard. It didn't matter how you performed in high school, but varsity was extremely hard. So it's a matter of you would put in the hours to study, to prepare, to attend classes, but the results, they still come back bad, you know. So it's demotivating because you're like, what else must I do? I studied, I attended TADs, I attended all the classes, you know. So yeah, it was a very difficult time.
And where did the pressure come from? It was from you? You were pressuring yourself, or it came from people around you?
From me. It was from me. Yeah.
So you wanted to, like, I have to succeed.
Yes, definitely.
Right.
I'm sure that if we carry on here, we're not going to stop. We had many more questions, many more questions.
Hey, I was so curious about some details.
Me too, especially the
okay,
heartbreak,
okay.
especially the heartbreak. I know you guys are too. But we're going to talk more. We still have a lot to cover today. And I also want to hear what Miss Marcia and Miss T have to say about what they've heard so far.
You see that pressure from home, what it did in the studio. Some of them, they started having competitions in school with other people, you know, with other pupils as well. And also you see that it brought strain into the family. The family started having these divisions among them because of what happened, this pressure that they were putting on their kids. So it brought a lot of problems. I think anxiety was one of them. Anxiety was there. Depression was there. So pressure can push you to do other things that are not even good for your health.
We're talking about the youngsters, but who doesn't go through pressure in life? And you may be facing exactly what they faced. But I think we need some energy from these guys because they're very quiet today. Do we have some energy from them? Of course, not only this beautiful team here, full of energy for us, but we have two participants online, Kaniswa and Liano, who will join us and share their stories. Welcome to Woman, guys.
Hi, Mrs. Marcia. Hi, Mrs. Togo, and hi, everyone.
Good afternoon, Mrs. Marsha, Mrs. Togo, and everyone.
The worst moment in my career was when I failed academically. Growing up, I never envisioned myself to become like an archaeologist or to be anything in life because I used to fail. I used to doubt myself. I never saw the potential in myself because of the situation that I grew up in. Growing up, you know, my mother was struggling financially. You know, there was nothing at home, so we lived out of handouts, you know, we lived out of asking for food from our neighbors, from our friends, and people used to look down on us, you know. That made me to then look down on myself even further, you know. I didn't see myself getting out of that situation. It was so difficult. So academically, the situation affected me because growing up, when I was younger rather, I was like an A student, you know, I was very bright, you know, I went to the best schools and everything. So when the situation hit, now I started being affected, getting, you know, my average grades. It wasn't really nice, but I was able to just like cruise easily to like, you know, every grade, just get your averages, made me to succeed, to pass to the next grade, you know, just like that. And it went on till metric, and that is where now the situation got worse. So I had to really, you know, fight to get grades that will make me to get into varsity because at home it wasn't nice, you know, so that affected me. Plus the peer pressure, you know, being a teenager, having so much friends, you know, wanting to become the cool kid and everything like that. So I just got like my average grades. I failed my maths and my sciences. So now I had thoughts of taking a gap year because I felt like I didn't do well, but my average grades enabled me to register into varsity. And that is when now, you know, I had external voices from people. Why are you choosing archaeology? What is archaeology? You're going to get a job from the degree and things like that. So it was more of like a battle in my mind now. Like, do I really go forward with this or do I wait or what? So I was really going through the most at that point. But I was able to go into varsity, and still in varsity, it wasn't an easy journey. It was hectic, you know, the pressure of being in varsity, meeting new people. So I didn't perform well until only the last year of my varsity degree, and I was able to get the marks that I wanted. But before that, it wasn't easy because I failed. I even thought I was not going to graduate. I was not going to succeed forward. And even also in my honesty, it wasn't easy. There were modules that I really didn't perform well. Not because I wasn't studying, but I only had to put in the extra effort, like revise this more and more. So it wasn't an easy journey. So I could say that the worst moment was when really I failed my modules and I was not sure of whether I'm gonna be able to go into varsity or I'm gonna have to take a gap year and rewrite.
To succeed, I had to also think outside the box. So because of me just applying to many companies, it didn't bear much fruit. I wouldn't see much of the results because, as said earlier, I would go through many interviews, many technical tests. My fingers can't even count the amount of times that I went to an interview. But I decided to think outside the box. I decided to think on what can I do that is different from other people.
It's true, Ms. Marcia and Ms. Toko, and they are not the only ones.
Yes. With that being said, we have one more guest. Although she's not here physically in the stew with us, down from the Cape, we're going to hear Lebu's story about this, and we'll be right back.
Hey VYG Fam, today we're diving into South Africa's biggest challenges, hitting youth the hardest. From unemployment to mental health. These aren't just stats, they are real life issues. Now let's begin with the Generation Z, known today as your Gen Zs. Born between 1997 and 2012, this group is facing a crisis like no other, with 63% of South Africans between those ages are unemployed. That's more than half of the youth population, with many unable to find work despite their education and skills. They face a future where opportunity feels out of reach and the pressure is mounting. Poverty in youth, linked directly to unemployment, is poverty, which is hitting young South Africans the hardest. With over 55% of the population lives being below the poverty line, they struggle to get on less than with 1,450 a month. But it's the youth who suffer the most. Many are growing up in households where jobs are scarce and education is limited. The result, a future that feels bleak and full of barriers that seem almost impossible to overcome. Now let's take it to your depression and mental health crisis. This cycle of poverty and unemployment doesn't just affect people's wallets. It's taking a severe toll on mental health. With the rising stress and anxiety, depression is a growing epidemic, especially among the youth. In fact, 1 out of 3 South Africans will face mental health issues in their lifetime. Depression is the most common, and with the pressures of unemployment, poverty, and an uncertain future, it's no surprise that suicide rates are also climbing, around 9.5 per 100,000 people. Now, let's zoom out to the bigger picture. South Africa's unemployment rate is sitting at a staggering 32.9%, one of the highest in the world. For the youth, the situation is even worse. 63% of youth South Africans are unemployed, facing the toughest job market in the country's history. So, the struggles of the Gen Zs, the overwhelming poverty among the youth, and the rising mental health crisis are all interconnected. These challenges can feel insurmountable, but they're not invertible. Addressing them will require focused action on multiple fronts, from job creation and education reform to better mental health services and support systems. The question is, how do we turn the tide and create a future where youth South Africans can strive? Let's head back to the show.
So we see Miss Marcia, Miss T, we see how common these problems are. the unemployment issues at home. You graduated, you can't get a job, fatherless figure, the anger which grows in most young men who are, revolted with life, with the world, with everything. We say that these issues are common. But the problem is that usually when the problems come, people reach in their lives a dead end. And we want to show to you, along with our guests, remember earlier on when we were doing the Never Have I Ever, there was one question which all of them had in common, which was being pressurized to succeed. I don't know where the pressure came from, whether it was from within themselves, from society, from the family, from the parents. I don't know from where, but they're going to share with us a little bit about their story. They're going to share with us, where they are today. We want to hear what actually happened.
Did they succeed? Although they were pressured, did they succeed?
What did that pressure do to them? Let's start with Junior once again. I think we can go that side, and we'll kick in this side. Junior, tell us a little bit about your upbringing, your challenges.
So as I said before, I grew up in a very solid family that had a positive impact in my upbringing. But the problem started upon completing my matric. Because as I completed my matric, I had my friends who would go to varsity, who were getting admitted elsewhere. And I was that person who applied almost everywhere but couldn't get space. And it really caught up with me because I really felt the pressure of my friends going there, my family looking forward for me to go to varsity, because I believe it's every parent's dream to see their kids going and furthering their studies. So that actually caught up with me so much bad. And at the end of the day, I was like, okay, let me just find something to do for that year. I got rejected. I don't have a space for this year, but I will eventually try next year. And I actually decided to go and work at a restaurant, but at a later stage, I decided to reapply again. So as I reapplied, I actually applied for the course that I wanted to do, I wanted to pursue. And to my disappointment, I got rejected again.
Just before he carries on, you see how it's interesting. Although he had a good upbringing, there was still a barrier, because a lot of people think the problem is the family.
That they didn't have a family, that
Exactly.
they didn't have a father figure.
In his case, he did have it, but that did not mean that he never had a barrier. He never had an obstacle. That still doesn't mean that you're going to have a perfect little world, because people actually think that there are young people who actually are born into that perfect little world. So please take note to that. Yes, Junior, you can carry on, please.
So out of that frustration, I decided to go to one of the institutions. And upon my arrival there, I asked them, I applied, what's happening? And the person who was assisting me was like, unfortunately, the course that you have applied for is in high demand, and we could not pick you at that point. But there is a course that is not in much demand, and I can put you on a waiting list. I remember it was on a Friday. And I was like, out of that frustration, I was like, okay, it's fine. Just do it for me. And I went back home, and I remember on Monday, as I woke up to an email saying I've been accepted. Out of that, I was actually happy.
How long were you waiting for your answer? Like from when you were disappointed that you didn't get what you wanted, how long were you waiting for?
It was almost, I was going to 2 years.
2 years?
I was going
from
to
when
2
you
years.
graduated?
From when I finished my
Matriculate,
matric.
okay.
From the time I finished my matric, I had to stay the whole year at home. And that time I was working at a restaurant. Then I reapplied again for the other year. So it was that thing of, I cannot stay one more year again at home. What will my friends say? What will my family say? I had so much pressure within me. And I remember I called my family and was like, I just got accepted. And the question was, which course, which qualification? And funny enough, it's sports management actually. To begin with, I never in my life knew that there was a course called sports management. And I didn't even play any sporting code as a child. So I remember my brother looked at me and was like, what is this? Because I think they were also not aware of the cause. And I said, let me just go into it. I will eventually change the other year. Let me just be in the system, and I think it will be easier for me to change.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, it's cool. I move into varsity and I have hope inside of me. Remember, I'm going, but not with that thing of this is what I actually want to pursue. So I pushed, I reapplied for the course again, and to my surprise, I had been accepted, which was something amazing. I pushed that year, and eventually at the end of the year, I had passed well. But on the other year, as I was going to register for that new qualification, they told me that the space has been taken away from you. So it was so bad. I remember I looked at that administrator and I was like, can we just go to the dean if it's possible? Because I was like, I've been striving so hard to get this qualification. I waited for almost a year. I waited for another year studying something that I did not even like, and it all comes to this.
Tell me something. You had mentioned that your friends were accepted, and you were the one who stayed behind. How did it feel seeing your friends like they are reaching or accomplishing their dreams, and you were still at this stage at least 2 years behind them? How did that?
It was bad. I don't want to lie, because it was that thing of I was with them now and they are one step ahead of me. It made me feel rejected in a way, because I was like, I knew I was not the smartest kid in class, but I had performed well to get a space. And what's wrong with me? It was more of, I was questioning myself in terms of what is of me, like, how can I go about this? And it was actually frustrating. It was very bad inside.
Okay. Yes. I'm going to move on to Kile for you to tell us a little bit about your story. Junior's not done with his story. It's not done. But I want to move on to Kile and hear your side. How has it been? What has been the pressure in your life that has brought you, like the pressure that you've had to succeed in your life?
Okay. As for me, it was the background at home. Both of my parents were not working at all. My elder sister couldn't further her studies because she had to work so that we can get basics at home. So it was difficult even for her, because she ended up not being able to support even us, you know. So after my matric, that's when I registered for a course. So after that, I needed an experience on that one. So I went to one of the NGOs around my area to volunteer, thinking that I would end up being employed there, you know. But it didn't end up well there. I was volunteering for quite few months. And then that's when I got a new post. So then I left that job, went to another one. And on that environment, that work, I didn't like it at all. But for the fact that I was getting something, I was able to put bread on the table and support my other siblings. I had no choice. Then
How
I
many
stayed.
are you at home?
We are 3.
3?
Yes.
Okay. And with your parents being unemployed, what pressure did you have upon yourself knowing that your parents are unemployed and you need to do something to change this? How did that work up in your mind?
For me, it was a thing of I need to make it in life. As much as I have this qualification, I believe that I'm going to get this job, because I knew that if I get this job, everything's going to be well at home. But with the job that I got at that time, it wasn't fulfilling to me, and it wasn't aligned with the qualification that I had. So I just had to stay there in order to support my family as well. Yeah.
Okay. You can carry on.
Okay. So being in that organization, that's when I got pressurized that, okay, from here, where to, because of I'm not fulfilled where I am. So then I decided to to furthermore my studies now, but it was difficult in the organization because they didn't support it much. So it led me to resign my work. It wasn't an easy decision to take, but I had to because I wasn't fulfilled. I was being demoralized in that organization. So that's when it led me to use the skills that I have, you know. That's when I started my business now that I have now. Yeah.
Which she's going to tell us more about shortly. You see that the paths, the dreams everybody has, everybody wants to succeed, but there's always an obstacle. There's always that thing that stands in their way to stop them. Some, in the case of family, some with the upbringing, others, the finances. There's always something going on. There's always something going on. So I cannot repeat this enough, that there are so many people who look at the lives of others and say, oh, wow, your life is okay. Or that person grew up in a family.
If I just had that one thing that
Precisely.
you have it, then everything would be different for me. But we have different stories here, so much so that we have Mbali, that is the next one I would like to speak to us, who is pretty young and still is here, and it's here because she's here because she has a story as well. So Mbali, tell us about your story.
So as from the previous exercise from Never Have I Ever, with me, it was because of the background and my family, it broke me down a lot. But it didn't just break me down, it broke my siblings down. And what had happened was it increased to the extent where my sister, my older sister, committed suicide during her matric year. And for me, being the person who, for me walking into the room, the room that she committed suicide, and going back and telling my family, oh, she committed suicide, it really broke me down growing up, because I felt like, you know, how could this happen? And it made me feel like, it already made me feel a lot more overwhelmed than I had already been, because I was already rejected growing up. So now my sister's passing on because of it. It felt like, okay, it's my family's fault. And what happened is that with me, it now became a thing that I now wanted to overachieve. So normally there are some people who will, you know, you go down, but for me I was like, no, I'm going to invest in my books. I'm going to invest. And yes, I would invest, yes, I would get the accomplishments, but at the end of the day, I would feel so rejected, and I would feel, not rejected, but rather, I have the award, but I feel nothing. I have it, clap hands, and then it's just then.
You didn't feel fulfilled.
I didn't feel fulfilled. And more so, because I would achieve, that meant to some degree at my school it was a thing. If you're doing well academically, now I have friends, and I was that girl. So with me, there was a pressure to succeed, of course, to prove my family wrong and prove that I can also matriculate, I can also, you know, do well. But I also had the pressure to keep up the face of, oh, now I'm that girl, so I have to continuously be that girl, and that pushed me quite a lot to, you know, now to want to succeed.
All right, and we have here another different story as well. I'm not going to comment on everyone because we have a lot, and always in the VYG we don't disappoint. The stories are always interesting.
We still need to see the other side of the page.
Exactly.
What happens?
So Don, tell us about your story.
Okay, for me it was a thing of, I never had like the support of like keep going, you know. It was always about like me doing it myself. Like when I need to go to school, I need to set my own alarm. I need to like do everything for myself, you know, because my parents are always busy. And with that also, I have 3 big sisters that have never been varsity. That okay, they completed their academics, but they didn't pass them, you know. One getting pregnant, moving out of the house. The other one deciding to do something that is actually against the family. So that made me think that, no, I have the right to choose whatever I want to do in life. Nobody can tell me anything. So I grew up like that. Even going to school sometimes, I'll be like, I don't feel like writing. I'm just going to sit, you know. there's a test. I'm not gonna write. I'm gonna sit, And by the way, I'm done. Nobody tells me what to do.
And the way that some of the youth who are watching us might be thinking, that's my dream.
Yes.
That my parents just get off my case, that they don't wake me up to go to school.
I think people like Junior never had that luxury, Junior.
I never had
You never had that luxury.
They would rub me if I did something.
So then somebody who is in Junior's shoes will say, wow, as you said, that life, wow, Don is living the life. I wish I could just sit and choose to do whatever. And then Don, on the other hand, he never had a reference.
Yeah.
He will look at the life of somebody like Junior and say, I wish my parents were there to actually push me to achieve. But yes, Don, carrying on.
Yeah, I'll be like that. I'll just sit in the test, or in the exam, and I'll get my 0, no problem, After all, I want to be Cristiano, That was my thing.
Sitting at the back.
Nothing. So that led me not to invest in anything in life. I didn't know that I'm actually backpedaling. In my own thoughts, I'm like, no, I'm going forward. Nobody tells me what to do. I'm gonna make my own decisions. I'm gonna get there. But I was doing nothing to get there. It was just a thing of I will get there. That's how my life was.
Okay. Lati.
Yes.
You've been the quietest one. Now it's your turn.
Okay, so for me, the pressure to succeed was from myself. So growing up, going to school, seeing how other kids are living, how they have this new gadget, this new toy, things that I'm not really so privileged to have. It's always a matter of let's, see if it's really necessary for you to have this or not. So
How was your upbringing? Mom, dad, how was that?
Single parent, just my mom, yeah. So I think such situations would actually, push me to want to do better for myself, not having to always, if you want something, you have to first negotiate whether you need to have this or not, So it really pushed me. So, okay, I matriculated 2013. Did I just expose my age?
Yes, you did. Let's pretend never happened.
Yes.
You still look very young.
We can still edit it out if need be, but we won't.
Okay, so I matriculated and thank God I got accepted into university, but there are no funds. There's just no way. My mom, she was working then, but it was not the type of job where she could afford university fees because university
the only
fees
child?
are really expensive. Yeah.
Only child, okay.
So, she did want me to succeed, but looking at the situation, for her it was a matter of maybe we should just apply at a college or something because maybe that she can kind of afford. But I had bigger dreams for myself, so it was a matter of, what, let's just gather what we can to register so that I can at least go inside and the rest we'll see when I get there. So I was able to go in, thank goodness. But in varsity, by June, you need to have paid at least half of your tuition fees, and otherwise you won't be able to get your results. So the pressure again to now gather funds, applied for bursaries. It was just rejections over and over and over.
In this moment, just before you carry on, did you ever think about giving up?
No.
You had that in your mind and it's like, I'll go for it. It doesn't matter what it takes.
It was a matter of, God, I did all that I could. I studied hard, made sure that I get my matric. What I'm faced with right now, it's something that I can't do. Where will I get the money? I don't work. I'm just a child, So yeah, I went in, applied for bursaries. It was rejections all the way. So now there's the pressure of academics. You need to perform there. And then on the other hand, it's your fees. How am I going to get tuition fees? And then something came up, at least. It didn't cover all my fees, but it did cover a significant amount. So at least I was able to get my results. And first year, we got through first year. Then we got to second year, same battle again. But then eventually I then got a proper bursary, which then covered for everything. So now at least the stress was kind of getting less. So
What motivated you?
I wanted better for my life. That's what motivated me. I just wanted better. I needed a bit of comfort in my life, really.
Okay.
Yeah, so it got better. Varsity as well showed me flames because varsity is extremely difficult because now you have a bursary, but they're also expecting of you to produce the results. But at least now that I didn't have the pressure of fees anymore, then I could focus on one thing, which was to just perform academically. So yeah, I finished my undergrad and then moved forward to do my honors degree. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. We'll be back. We'll be back. We'll be back. Last but not least, Tabang, tell us about that pit you found yourself in, besides the heartbreak.
Okay. All right. So for me, growing up, the family was kind of solid in raising us, you know, always paid the fees, you know, at a very good school. I think I was about 17 years old when my parents separated. And now there's a lot of talks in the family. Oh, what do we do with these kids? And then it got to a point where, okay, now you have to go back to school. Schools are open, you have to go back to school. Your fees are not paid. Went to my uncle who had always been paying my fees up until grade 10. I was like, yo, uncle, can you please pay my fees for probably the first term of the year? And my uncle was like, no, during the December holidays, you were at home. I was actually out of the country. I went to Botswana. My uncle was like, you have to work. So I actually got a job, got employed in my uncle's bakery. So there was pressure in the bakery.
How old were you? Because
I was 17 years old.
17. Instead of going to school, you were working.
I was working. I actually kind of missed a term. So during that period, you know, you work with people that are like 28 and you're 17. You work with people that are like 55 and you're 17 years old. Once that phase was done, went back to school, pushed, matriculated. After matric, the talk starts again. As I had mentioned earlier, that I chose a career path that was kind of, you know, people didn't understand that you want to be an artist. Who have you seen in this neighborhood, or who have you seen in your family that became an artist and became successful? It got to a point where, all right, this is what you want to choose. The people that were actually supporting the art career didn't have the financial muscle to actually fund it. The people that had the financial muscle were like, we'll support you if you want to be an accountant. Yes, that will support. But this, no, we're not gonna go with this. So yeah, I stayed home for like 3 years, you know, not going to school. You go on social media, you see your friends, they going into varsity, they getting accepted. Most of my friends went overseas. They're in the UK, they're in the USA. Some of your friends, you see them graduating, becoming pilots, you know, and you're still trying to work this art career out. You have to fund it yourself. You have to buy equipment yourself. You have to get connections yourself. It's difficult.
You basically reached a dead end.
Dead end. Nothing.
How did you turn that around?
So when COVID hit, that's when I actually sat down and I was like, now I gotta come up with a plan now. You know, this is time for me to act. Everybody's at home. Nobody's going out. Everybody's just stuck. Now I have to think deep, you know. Went on social media, and so there was one of the VYG members. His brother was already in the industry, already working with big brands, already big. So during that phase, I was like, okay, I always had this little bit of pride that, no, I'm not gonna go to that guy. No, I'm not gonna approach that guy. But you know, there's times when you have to be humble.
Yes.
And you have to you know, reduce yourself to nothing and just ask for help. So I asked for his assistance. I was like, can we please go to your brother? Can we try? Then he was like, okay, I'm actually also trying to do this thing. So yeah, I'll take you to my brother. Went to his brother, you know, and at that point, things started changing. I started, you know, selling my own artworks. I started discovering that, wow, you can actually make this amount of money just through art. You know, Ladi over here was one of the first people that actually bought my work.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
She
I like
actually
that.
believes
The
in my
VYG
work.
support system. I like it. I like it.
Yes. You know, when other people would look at me and say, go get a job, man. Just stop doing this thing. You know, Lati actually approached me. And at that point, I was at my lowest. Like, you know, my head was all over the place. And she was like, okay, can you do some pieces for my house? You know, I actually did some pieces for her house. And, you know, she actually paid me. And though I charged her what I would charge 20 times now, but the fact that she believed in my work, and she was like, okay, I'm going to support you, that boosted my confidence. That boosted my confidence to another level. Fast forward, as I mentioned, the other VYG member who actually introduced me to his brother actually got me a job at a corporate company, a local sneaker brand, the biggest sneaker brand in Africa that is actually African, you know. And once he got me that job, other opportunities opened up. I started working with other big brands, you know. I did campaigns with the biggest stationery brand in probably the country, if not Africa. You know, I'm working with some of the biggest sneaker brands. I'm working with corporate companies, with, you know, accounting firms. The first time I actually heard my family telling me that, okay, we are proud of you, was when I did shoes for a certain show that's big on TV. It's even playing now. It's sort of like a live show. So when that show actually showed my work, when they actually unboxed the shoes that I had designed live on that show, and I took like a snippet, a little video, posted it on my WhatsApp status. My whole family was asking for it. Can we please have the video? I remember when I sent a contract to my mother, like it was I actually got a promotion at my corporate job, you know, and I sent my mother the contract. And I was actually moving out of Joburg at that time, and I sent my mother the contract. She sent me a message that she had never sent me before. I actually got emotional when I saw the message, and I was like traveling, and I was like, wow.
And I'm pretty sure you consider it was worth it, right?
It was really
Everything
worth the struggles, the tears, the sleepless nights, everything.
Everyone, we saw the struggles of everyone. And I believe when you had that moment, you said she supported you from the VYG. So you all had your moment when you met the VYG or you were already in the VYG. And I'm sure we mentioned that before. The VYG is what gave you that, you know, that support. And that made you carry on. Because maybe those watching us say, they're lucky. Because, you know, at least he had Lati to support him. Or I don't remember, someone else said that someone paid, you got someone eventually to pay for your fees, right, Lati? So I don't know, she got lucky because she got as well someone to pay for her fees. So eventually they think, no, they are gifted. But the VYG has a strong meaning on that, right? And as you, Lati, supported another VYG member, where are you today?
So today I'm an IT auditor. I worked for one of the big 4 audit firms, but I'm at my next job now, actually. I'm at an insurance company, the biggest insurance company in South Africa. So, yeah.
Give us just life in a nutshell, your life, summarized.
Well, my life is, I can't complain much. Yeah, I'm well settled in my career. I am married as well.
Okay.
We met in the VYG.
But that's where I was going. I wanted her to say it, you know.
Yeah, formerly the YPG. So yeah, I would say my career.
And you've got your home, because if he had to decorate it, it means you got to choose the decor.
Well, it was my mom's house then, but now, yes, maybe we need to negotiate again.
Oh, wow, okay.
Since he's charging 20 times
Yeah,
more.
I was about to go there.
We can make an exception.
Remind him that you were there supporting
Yes,
him, remind him,
yes.
give him that discount, that supporters discount.
Thank you, PJ. You heard that?
Definitely. We can make an exception.
It's in the woman to woman. There's no way that he can run from
Exactly.
it. Don, where are you today, Don?
Wow.
Let me help you with one question.
All
You
right.
said none of your siblings went to varsity.
None, yeah.
Did you?
Yes, I'm in varsity as we're talking, but not only am I in varsity, I also signed a contract with the biggest retailer in Africa. I can't expose my salary, if I may call it a salary, because it's...
But we see the smile, so...
It does put me in trouble most of the times because it's almost times 10.
So you're studying and you're working?
At the same time, yes. So what happened between me and the organization was that they were looking like for the top students, to become general managers within the organization when they're done with their universities.
You, the guy, during the exam, who would just sit in the class, do nothing, you were the top achiever and you got a job before you even graduated. Is that I don't know if you guys caught on to here. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, exactly.
Sorry,
All right.
from the one who didn't care about
Yeah, that guy.
0 to the top achiever, what triggered that change?
Okay, so what happened is that what made me
words.
focus, to be in education was, I used to meet my mentor, and from the VYG, by the way. You'd be like, Don, why don't you try school, Why don't you try school? Why don't you try school, And I'm like, hey, whenever I meet him, he's going to tell me about school. What's your problem? Like, let's talk about football, And then I'm like, no, let me try it out, because of the more he spoke to me, I would understand. But he has a point. I would ignore it later on, but when I'm talking to him again, no, he has a point, Whatever he's saying, it gotta make me move, And I'm also seeing other VYG members, they're going forward, and that would be like motivating me, let me try this education thing. Let me try to get a little bit of knowledge, And doing that, I found myself in the top 5 when I did my matric, just by trying. Actually, I was not yet putting my effort into it. Then I got into varsity, and I was like, let me put a bit of effort, Now that I'm motivated, the VYG guy supports me, They are there most of the times when I'm struggling. So let me put effort. And then I did put the effort. I found myself first semester of my first year was number 2. Okay, let's try again, I did put more effort. And then I was number 1 the second semester. And then overall, I was number 1 the whole year. And then going to my second year now, that's when the bursary comes through. And then they offer me the contract, like, okay, this is how we're going to do it. If you sustain the average of 70 every year, then you can become a general manager. If you go further, then there are more positions for you above that one. So I kept going, I kept pushing myself. And then before I knew now, the contract hit the amount. And yeah, I almost, collapsed because it was my first time, because I've taken my mother's payslip and look at it. And then I was looking at my own and I'm like, hey, wonders happen, And then, from there, that's where I am today. I'm top achiever at UJ in my course and also in my faculty. My bursary gives me quite a lot, as I said, almost times 10 of what the government provides for the...
Oh, wow. That is superb. And I mind you that this is one of the major issues of people graduating but not getting a job. He hasn't even graduated yet. And
Listen to your members, VYG.
mentors, yes.
VYG members.
Yes, exactly. Bali, overachiever, the opposite of many others. Overachiever, but unfulfilled. Lost, like, okay, overachiever, I've reached the pinnacle. Everybody looks at me. Now what? Talk to us.
So that now what moment came with now it's time to make decisions because now I'm growing up, now I'm moving forward, I'm entering high school. And I remember I think the time the penny dropped was realizing that maybe I might have a lot of friends, but I don't feel fulfilled. So the first thing that I needed to do is recognize the worth that I had. And I can't take God out of that equation and say that He's the one that did the greater work in me. And from there, I can say I can't explain how much of a shift that made or that took place in me, because maybe when I was younger, I was into sports because overachieve, right? Into sports, all of that. And now that I have God in my equation, it's like, oh. And that's when I got introduced, or God showed me, and that's when I saw new talents of myself, because now I got boldness and confidence, because before, as I said, I lost a lot of confidence in myself because I felt like people rejected me. Although, yes, people like me because I'm that girl, but inside I felt rejected. So that rejection was removed, and that gave me confidence by God, and that gave me confidence to do greater things. With the confidence, it then started in the YPG when we started having, now I'm in the YPG, we started having activities. And the activities we'd have is presentations. And you know, when they're in the nation, they'll be like, who can talk? And your nation members are like, you. And it was one of those members, so I'm happy to, I don't remember who it was, but somebody was like, Mbali. And from that moment, I remember I did the presentation, and we had to solve like a problem in South Africa. And I think it was about corruption, actually, in the government system. And then I got there, and I remember Uncle Vini was like, 25,000 points to Invincible, and we got the highest points. And that from that moment, I would say that supports that task, as little as it sounds, because a lot of the times you hear task of the week, and most of the time you're like, no. But it was from that moment that the greatest scheme took place. And now I can say, from that little task, I'm now the junior speaker of Johannesburg, as well as a junior commissioner of Mondio Police Station. And those are positions of leadership in governance. I never thought I could be there. Of course, all I thought is that I could be nobody. But one thing that I learned from that, it shows that just because, and I always say this when I go to the schools, because as junior speaker, you go, and you visit, and you speak, and it's just because you come from a bad background does not mean that your back needs to be on the ground. And that is my story.
It's getting more and more interesting.
Mhm.
It doesn't end there.
Artists, to have people in the government, to have people bowling.
Yes, exactly. Kili, talk to us.
As for me, at that time, taking a decision to live corporate in this economy where you don't know where your next meal is going to come from, but for the fact that I was no longer there, and I was like, okay, what am I going to do? What skills do I have that I'm going to put or do something with my life? So it pushed me to such an extent that I was like, I'm doing this, I'm living this, and I'm going to start my own business, if I can put it that way. So, and remember, it wasn't an easy decision because I was also studying at the same time. My fees has to be paid. So I didn't struggle that much, because there's one event planner that approached me and was like, you know what, just because of you're starting now, let me give you a startup. And I didn't know where I was going to start, where I'm going to get my suppliers and so forth. But the event planner was like, Kila, you can do this. And when the orders, the work started to come in, that's when I felt like, okay, we're really, really doing this. And that's how I started to flourish. I started to get more ideas on how I can grow with the business that I'm doing right now. And to be honest, I'm happy. Like at first, the corporate work, like when it used to be Sunday, I used to get stressed that, oh, tomorrow's Monday and I'm going there. But then whereas now, like I get so excited for Monday, or okay, tomorrow what am I going to do? What appointments do I have? You know, putting smile to people's face. You know, a lot of people now, they can come to me and be like, Kile, I want to fix things in my marriage. What can I do? Remember, now I'm single, but then I can be like, you know what? I have an idea. We can do 1, 2, 3, and so forth. And venturing into new other projects like doing decor and so forth, it has been a great growth, and I'm happy, I'm fulfilled, and yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's nice. So, Junior, from sports management, which you had nothing to do with it, did you finish the course?
Still can't believe he never played sports in his life. But that's a conversation for another time, guys. Go for it.
So PJ and Miss Dali, upon my return, because remember I had to go back, readmission to sports again. So at first, I was a little bit lazy, frustrated, and more pressured until I actually spoke to one of the mentors who's a friend of mine. And he shared something that really changed how I viewed the course or the qualification itself. He was like to me, sometimes you are placed in a place where you didn't want to be in, or you receive something that you did not plan to have it, but it should not deprive you from giving your best in what you have. And it really changed how I thought about that course and the qualification itself, to the point where from that day onwards, I started making researches. Oh, what is sports all about? How can I work more in this industry? How does it fit into what I actually love, and how can I apply it in my future or in my goals? And as a result, before I could even graduate, because now I had a vision, I was busy researching and involving myself more in it. I remember before I could even graduate, maybe it was 4 to 5 months before I could actually graduate, there was a vacancy that came out. And it's funny how I did not have a qualification at that time. I did not have the experience that was required. But I was like, I know I have inside of me what it takes to do whatever I have to do in order for me to get this job. And the application had hundreds of applicants who applied for that vacancy, but I still went ahead. When they called me about two weeks later, when they called me, I went into the panel interview, and I remember the project manager was like, I did not call you because you actually deserve here, but I just wanted to get a glimpse of who are you actually to apply for this application. You saw you didn't have a license, you saw you did not have an experience, you saw that you do not even have one qualification, but you still came ahead.
Wow.
And that was the beginning of the change.
The audacity.
And I was like, I'm gonna show you now what I'm made of, because there's nothing that is gonna stop me. And I stood up, and the interview went so well. The same project manager who was like, who are you? Was like, I'm really impressed. Like, I don't even know how you articulate yourself, the manner in which you talk, how you present yourself. It's amazing. And within 2 days, they called me back, and they were like, this is the contract, you got the post. And from then on, I am a sports event planner and a sports administrator. We get to travel a lot. I get to learn a lot from networking, from meeting other people from sports industry. And I even have a hobby of sports now, something that I never did.
Welcome. You're more than welcome.
So I've been doing tennis, but besides all, I love what I'm doing now. I learned to love it. I learned to work hard and to learn what is actually the job about and how I should go about it. So it has been a really nice experience, and I'm really grateful for that.
Yes, PJ, to succeed, I had to put in the extra effort. It was not easy. Remember, I said for my last year, that's when I started putting in the extra effort, because I was always getting averages. I failed some of the modules. I didn't perform to my potential. So I had to pull up my socks. And that is when every evening, I remember the last semester, I think, that is when my room was full of papers, like my walls would be full of revision material. I'd study every night. I would even read out my notes. I would even ask my sister to be with me in the room so that I can explain to her the content, to really show her that I really understood what I'm studying at this point. And also in the mornings, I'll make sure that I arrive early at campus. If there was something I had to go over to make sure that I understand what the content of the class would be, I had to do it. It was like my schedule that I had to arrive early. I'll wake up very early in the morning. Basically, I didn't sleep, because I wake up very early, sleep very late, going over and over of the material. If I didn't understand something in class, I would go over the internet, search for tutorials, maybe on YouTube, or maybe websites, how they explain the content, make sure that I understood it myself. So I had to show the interest. I had to realize that I have a dream. And in order for me to achieve it, it's when I also work hard. I had to be a go-getter. So that is how I was able to succeed. And at the end of my 4th year, I graduated with the grades that I want. I graduated with a GPA that I had never even I had never imagined. I had written like maybe an average GPA, like I want to get a 4.0, just be able to get into second class, but I was able to exceed and go for a 4.2, get the modules that I'd written, I want to get 80s, 70s, just basic grades for me to pass. I was able to get 90s. I really graduated with marks that I never imagined. And that is how I was able to earn a scholarship to further my studies here in South Africa. And also even here, for my honors degree, I had to make sure I had to pull up my socks, because here there's nobody who's motivating you. There's nobody who's behind you, like in your high school and everything. Varsity level rather. So I had to put in the extra effort even here for my honors. There were modules that I didn't perform too well, but I studied. I made sure that I put in the effort. Every evening I was there studying.
So what I did, I started a freelancing business where I would freelance my services as a developer, graphic designer, and photographer. I would be mostly working with small businesses, small events, and like weddings, baby showers, or other things that some companies would be doing. And starting that out was really nice, was really good. It had its own fair share of challenges, but it taught me quite a lot. And doing that, an opportunity arose where they needed, in where I used to study, they needed a coding lecturer assistant. Basically, this assistant, the job spec was to assist the coding lecturer in whatever that they may need to help the students with maybe code bugs, or just helping them to be actually a hands-on person to help the students, and to also help with some other logistical and admin purposes for the lecturer. I started at this company. Didn't even go through the interview process, because they looked at my resume, they saw the proactive work that I did, and they'd also see the fact that I was not only focused on one aspect, but I taught myself other skills. And because of that, I didn't go through any interview process. Instead, I got the job immediately. Starting out there in my first week, I was a proactive person. I would always do the extra mile. When they would ask me to do A, B, and C, if there's a need to do D, E, and F, I would be the guy. I will be there to do it. After finishing my week there, that's when I had a sit down with them, and they gave me the promotion. They promoted me to become a coding lecturer. Then that's when I became a coding lecturer. So in essence, my job is to teach, guide, mentor, and shape the future young people who want to become a tech expert, either through being a software developer, software engineer, web developer, full stack developer, or in any aspect. And this is what I'm currently doing. And it's something that I'm really passionate about, because I'm able to make a difference in someone else's life. And not only that do I appreciate the role that I'm in, but the hardships that I went through makes me to be able to relate to my fellow students, on also to equip them with things that I wish that I was equipped with earlier back in my time when I was still seeking for employment.
There's just so much to take in from what they said, but I'm just going to summarize this very simple. Nothing changed around them, but what changed was inside of them. And because it changed here, they could change what was in their surrounding.
They stood up for a change. Even though they had problems, they had challenges, people were against them, but they stood up, and today they stand where they are exactly because they got that confidence from the VYG.
They're standing on their own 2 feet.
Exactly.
They've got that confidence. People who, there were different cards being played against them, but they managed to stand. They are standing. They are an example, and that's why we brought them here, to remind all of you that it doesn't matter where you come from. The circumstances are all different, all of them different circumstances, different backgrounds, different challenges, different situations. All of them had an obstacle. All of them eventually reached a dead end. But because what they changed was here, they got to change everything. And today, as we said, they're standing.
Exactly, that's it.
Wow, what beautiful stories we heard. And you see that, you know, they didn't allow anything to stop them. One of them even mentioned that he didn't have qualifications and all that, but he went ahead. He had the audacity to go ahead and fight for his career, you know. And the interviewer was very surprised by his response, and he made it. Yeah.
Maybe you have someone in your home who is a potential like Junior.
Mm-hmm.
Ask God to direct you on how to wake up that strength that is inside every youth.
Yes.
In South Africa, in Africa, because we are resilient by nature.
Exactly.
That's a gift that we have.
That's true.
I think it comes with our DNA when we are born, isn't that,
yes,
Topo?
Yes, yes.
You may be asking for ways God's pointing this, how, what it all means. I think their stories, the testimony, have said it all, have pointed out God. And we would like now that our team from the YPG Now Victory Youth Group may wrap up praying for you, praying for the youth out there who are lost. And we hope and pray that tomorrow they will find meaning. They will find their path in life joining us for the event. PJ and Tali, shall you pray for us?
Okay, let's close our eyes and let's pray. Holy Spirit, we ask that you awaken the strength from this youth who feels like he or she no longer has any strength. This young person who's reached rock bottom, this young person who's reached a phase in his or her life which they don't even know what to do. May you show them that you've already pre-planned their entire lives. All they need to do is to put their emotions aside and use their mind connected to you and allow you to lead. I pray for those who are struggling with depression, with a low self-esteem, with those who have practically lost their identity, those who feel like there's really no hope for them. They look at their parents, they don't even know where they are. They look at home, they don't see any inspiration in or through anyone. I ask that you visit them right now. Be the parent, or rather show to them that you are the father, the parent they've been looking for, the father figure this young man has been missing, or this young lady. I pray for the parents who, day after day, weekend after weekend, they've been crying bitter tears of sadness, wondering where did I go wrong in raising this child, because of the struggles, because of the drugs, the addiction, the mischievous behavior from this son, from this daughter. May you visit them, and may you also visit the children so that instead of being children of sadness, a reason of sadness, they may be a reason of joy for this family, just as this amazing fam who is here with us, and they share their story today. They are the reason of joy, of pride to their family. May this parent also experience that joy, that pride. We declare this and we present to you tomorrow's event to be the greatest event, not just a moment of fun, of vibes, but a transformation, a moment of transformation may take place in this event. We thank you for this privilege in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. The energy starts in the grounds. From there, it will go throughout the country, and we will celebrate youth tomorrow, especially those who did not find purpose in life. So maybe you say, oh, it's not for me. I'm sure there must be someone close to you, someone who's young, who doesn't know what to do of his or her life. Guide her to come to one of our headquarters in South Africa, here in Johannesburg. All the ways lead to holy grounds, and there we will be. You might be asking where Uncle Vinny and the city are. One is working hard in Soweto, the other is working behind the cameras to bring this beautiful program to you. On our side, we thank you all, guys. And we would like to see again now, for the wrap-up, the new motto of the Victory Youth Group.
Today, we stand at a significant milestone in our journey. We were known as the Youth Power Group and now transitioning to the Victory Youth Group. We're not just evolving our identity, we are redefining the very essence of who we are and what we aim to achieve moving forward. The reason for the change from YPG to VYG. It has come to our attention that our previous name, YPG, is shared with a group that has been associated with violent activities. As we look to grow and expand, we felt it was necessary to make this change to ensure our name is aligned with the values we represent and to avoid any confusion or negative impact towards our mission and brand integrity. While our name has changed, our mission remains the same: to inspire, support, and empower young people to reach their goals and overcome their challenges. We are still reaching out throughout the country in schools, communities, in sports, and other activities we do. We are excited about this journey ahead and deeply grateful for the continued trust and collaboration from everyone who's been part of this incredible team. VYG, they ain't no stopping us.
So we don't have anything else to say, Tali. Their story has definitely resonated to millions of youth, not only throughout South Africa, but throughout the world. All of them, as well as the story of Kanyiso and Liano, and all of them here. Fam, I'm pretty sure that everybody was inspired by your story. And I hope that, like you guys did, they will do the same. The change began inside, and you guys are killing it in the game outside. All right, so I think that's it.
Is that it, PJ?
No.
Aren't you forgetting anything?
We need to remember, we need to remind them, VYG, where we at?
There ain't no stopping us.
There ain't no stopping us.
There ain't no stopping us.
Toku, next week we come with more woman to woman to help you to bless your life. Until then,
yes, until next time with exciting topics.
God bless you all. Bye-bye.
We've been here before, year after year, and we've been showing up and doing it bigger and better. We are on a mission, and you form part of it.
We've been aiming to make a difference in people's lives. The VYG way, of course.
Showcasing talent, success, and sharing words of motivation.
Reminding the youth, reminding you
that whatever you put your mind to, you can succeed at. We don't chill.
We never stop.
That's the mission.
To transform lives.
You should be part of it. 22nd of February 2025 at the grounds.
24456 Eming Drive, Zone 6, Deep Kloof, Soweto. Or for those outside Gauteng, you can head to your provincial branch.